Hey guys, welcome back to the Sports Talk with Hawk podcast. Let's check out the Denver Broncos. The Russell Wilson experiment was a complete failure, but the decision to make the move quickly has been a success. What can we expect from them in 2025? Let's check it out. Here we go. What's up, guys? Here we go, looking at the Denver Broncos. I love what this team did last year. If you guys have been listening for a while, you know I called Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos really early. I said that was the team that was going to draft him. I knew that no matter what, Sean Payton was going to bring in his Drew Brees. And it's a Drew Brees that's got a lot more mobility, which gives Sean Payton the opportunity to get really creative with some of the play calls. I loved it. I loved what the team did. Sean Payton switches everything around, rookie quarterback, makes the playoffs, and honestly, this team has got a really bright future. Now, they do have to figure out a couple different things. That is an absolute guarantee. But they are set up now because of the cap increase. They've got over $60 million in cap space, and they still have $30 million dead. So this year, I believe it drops to, if I remember correctly, Russell Wilson's contract drops down to the $32 million in dead cap. So they got a ton of dead cap, but they're not paying anybody yet. They're really not. Now, they're going to have to. That money's going to start being needed. But next year, they get all that back. So, honestly, this team is set up to be able to do the building block setup. Year number 1, made the playoffs with the rookie quarterback. Year number 2, make the playoffs again, look a little bit better while doing it. Get some W's over the Chiefs, get a W over the Chargers. Don't fall flat in the second half like they did many times this year. Grow and mature. I really believe that's as simple as it gets for this team. When you're playing football, everything counts, and it's a lot of the little things. It's never the big things that take you down. You remember I was talking about in the Seahawks Snapshot how badly Jim Mora got out-coached. Looking back at games, we can see why certain coaches seem to be winning. Lovie Smith. So what's timeout? We're sticking with the snapshot, but we're going to take a detour real fast. Think about the early 2000s, okay? Think about the quarterbacks that were on those teams. You had a Super Bowl between Trent Dilfer and Kerry Collins. Neither one of them Super Bowl material. Then you had Jake Delhomme. You had Brad Johnson, who only that 1 year, he had a couple years with Minnesota, but he wasn't great. Tom Brady. Yeah, I know what he became. Early on, the defense carried that team, and anybody who says otherwise doesn't understand football. Without that defense, Brady doesn't have those rings. That defense at that time was something nobody else had seen. It was a defense that nobody else could figure out. The Steelers, the Ravens at the time, and the Patriots were the three defenses that just had everything together. The Steelers' offense wasn't together yet, not till Big Ben came in. The Ravens had that great year, and Trent Dilfer somehow leads them into the Super Bowl. Like it was a random year. So with all that being said, the way that those quarterbacks have played, Rex Grossman made a Super Bowl. Okay? Jalen Hurts isn't that good. That team is really good. Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl. Now, he did play really well in the Super Bowl. I'm going to give him credit. I'm not going to take all the credit away from him. No. You get credit when you play that well. He played very good. He played within the offense. He didn't try to be Superman. He did a very, very good job on Super Bowl Sunday. But you don't need a star quarterback to make the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy's made the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo has made the Super Bowl. Nick Foles and Carson Wentz made a the Super Bowl is about how you can build the team and the coaching mismatches. And that's what the AFC had over the NFC for years. They were the better coached conference. They just were. Like that's exactly what happened. Nobody could outcoach at the time Bill Belichick. Tom Coughlin did twice. And Tom Coughlin often was a thorn in opposing teams' sides. Right now, Sean Payton gives the Broncos that coaching edge. He's not going to get outcoached. What happened is his players weren't ready to be coached the way that he can yet. They're a little bit young. They're a little bit immature. They got to grow up a little bit. It's growing pains. Back to the snapshot. $65 million in cap space. You can sign the players. You got 19 free agents, 13 unrestricted. You've got a full draft pick selection, all 7 draft picks. Your stats weren't that bad. Let's check out the stats. Total offense, 19th, 325 yards a game. Passing, 20th, 212 yards a game. Rushing, 16th with 112 yards a game. You averaged, with a rookie quarterback, 25 points per game. Rookie quarterback. That's good. Now, defensively, they came on at the end of the year. They were 7th in total defense by the end of the year, 317 yards a game. 19th against the pass. They do need a better pass rush. They really struggle against the pass. Even with Patrick Surtain out there, the rest of the team struggles. It gets beat a lot. They need a second corner. They averaged 221 yards through the air on defense. But they were 3rd against the rush at 96 yards a game. And they allowed 18 points per game. Not bad. Not bad at all. They do have a glaring hole. That second corner slot is really bad. And the pass rush isn't great. They've got Benito, but they really don't have much else. They really got to work on the defensive line. Hey, guess what? It's a defensive draft. You can do that. And you don't have to spend a bunch of money on it. The turnover differential, pretty impressive. They were +6. Do you realize? +6 with a rookie quarterback. That defense got 15 interceptions, 10 fumble recoveries. They gave away 12 interceptions and 7 fumbles. They're not bad. They're not bad. And I think they improve incrementally pretty easily. I don't think this is complicated. Let's go ahead and take a look at the free agents that they have here. Pull this up. Where'd they go? They're there. So when you look at the free agents they have sitting here, full slate of picks, and then you've got It's not bad. It's not bad. DJ Jones is their biggest free agent right now, but he's going to be 30. He's 30 years old now. So he is a 30-year-old defensive tackle. If you can sign him for the right price, he was $10 million. I don't think I'd raise it. You can let him walk. I think you'd be okay. Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham are both free agents. The corner, Tremon Smith, Cody Barton, the linebacker, Justin Stamad, the linebacker. The one that's going to be really interesting is Javonte Williams, the running back, who's going to be 25 years old. He's a free agent. And I thought Javonte had a really bright future, and I don't know what that running back room is going to be like. I do believe that this team has to get the run game going. The numbers are a little bit off because Bo Nix had a lot of rushing yards. A lot of rushing yards. And because of that, the numbers are a little askewed. He scrambled really, really well. Just like when we get to the Commanders, Jaden Daniels had a ton of rushing yards. The rushing yards isn't the running backs. Like, it was a lot of Jaden Daniels. Same thing for Denver. He averaged, I think it was 50 yards every game on the ground. That's a weapon. That's a niche that you have, like with Lamar, like with Josh Allen. And teams that have that ability to just kind of once, twice, 3 times a game come out and the play completely breaks down and you've got him stopped, but then the quarterback just scampers for 13 yards. What are you going to do? So I do believe that's an aspect that, and I keep that in mind when I'm looking at some of these stats. Watching the Broncos games, they had no run game from the running backs. Very limited run game. That needs to get better. That absolutely needs to get better. They need to get their offensive line to a place where they can really dominate. So my out-of-the-box idea for the Denver Broncos, they need defense. They need a second corner. They've got the 20th pick in the draft, and they got all 7 picks in this draft. I think defensively, you let the draft take care of itself. If you guys have heard, I've already done the Atlanta Falcons snapshot. That was a while ago. But the Atlanta Falcons are only looking at defensive players in this draft. Well, yeah, it makes sense. They're not losing anybody they need on offense. If they make a move, it's going to probably be for defense. Look out for guys. I think maybe Hassan Reddick could end up in Atlanta. I think it's a guy that they should go after. He gives them a pass rushing ability. He may not be a all every down defensive end right now, but I believe between the draft and what they're doing, it's huge. They're going all defense. They are sending a very clear message. We are going to look at defense. Defense is where we failed. Offense is all set. We don't need to worry about the offense, and they will go with what they need to go with. I love it. Absolutely love it. So if you're the Broncos, what do? Well, you need defense. You need a second corner. You don't really need running backs. You need guards. They need both their guards to be solid. So here's my out-of-the-box idea. I think you need to trade for your second corner. And you have to do it in a way where you don't have to give up a first-round pick. Well, honestly, he's available. I would bring in Jair Alexander. I would really go after Jair Alexander. He is a guy that I believe would work well with Patrick Surtain. I think the injuries, there's a little bit of it that I think is kind of, it's another Packers scenario with a guy like that. And Sean Payton can handle players like Jair Alexander pretty easily. So I'm not going to get too worked up on what he's done. I think he's been hurt, but I think he's been out because it's the Packers, and I think he's wanted out for a little while. The other trade you could make, and this would be wild, but I think there's a way you could make this trade. If you could go get J.C. Horn from the Panthers have a lot of needs. A lot of needs on defense. You do have some players that you could trade them. They need linebackers. They're letting, Shaq Thompson is gone, which I said would happen in my snapshot. So with Shaq Thompson gone, there's a lot of different things here. There's a lot of different fingers with this. I would go big. Go try to get J.C. Horn from the Panthers. What about... Yeah, and I doubt it's going to happen. Well, maybe it would, though. Maybe it would because of cap issues. See, there's the thing. There's too many teams that have cap issues. I would go out to the San Francisco 49ers. I'd get one of their secondary because they got plenty, and I'd grab one if I could. You could easily go to Miami. That wouldn't be a bad option either. I'd go after Jalen Ramsey right now. I think Ramsey, how can I equate this here? To me, Jalen Ramsey is a lot like... He's a lot like Sean Springs. He had a really good start to the career in Seattle, goes to Washington, he's okay, kind of levels out. But then we've had other players like Charles Woodson. You go somewhere and then it just levels out and you go back to another location, all of a sudden you have a really good 1 or 2 years. Jalen Ramsey to me would be a guy, just like Jair Alexander, 1 or 2 years. You're not trying to get him for 3, 4, 5. You're not trying to get him for the future. You want him for 1 or 2 years. You want to energize him, bring him into a situation that he can be excited about, which he's not in Miami. That is very clear. Bring him into a situation he's excited about. Go all out. Go get the W. And he'll play hard. He will play hard. If you're the Broncos, I'm going after my second corner in a trade. And I'm going to try to make a big one. If I have to give up my second round pick, I will. I don't trade the first. I think there's a lot of things. I bet you Sean Payton trades down, actually, and gets more picks, accumulates more picks, because he knows there's a lot of second rounders. I think that's what he will do. So I think you trade a second. You go get players. I think that's exactly what he needs to do. And then you got to get guards. I think you can pick up the guards in free agency, though. I think you can revamp that offensive line with 2 guards and give Bo Nix a running game that actually gets him somewhere. It's absolutely possible. So that's really what I believe. As far as what I'm seeing at the Combine, I mean, it's a Saturday morning. As far as what I'm seeing at the Combine, I still think Kyle McCord is going to sneak. There's something about Kyle McCord that I really like. If he stayed at Ohio State, he would have gotten the proper recognition. I don't think he's an Ohio State type of bust quarterback. Will Howard is nothing compared to what Kyle McCord is. Kyle McCord can win you football games. Jackson Dart from Mississippi is a really intriguing one. Really intriguing. Jackson Dart could be the guy that the Raiders look at. And I didn't think another quarterback would go in the first round. I really didn't. But he is really starting to get a lot of momentum. Now, whether that is on purpose as far as trying to be misleading in what's actually happening, I don't know. But from what I've seen, just the tapes, Jackson Dart has that arm. He's got that ability. And I think the evaluation of quarterbacks is going to change a little bit. Are you able to play within the playbook? Can you be a Jimmy Garoppolo? Can you be a Brad Johnson? Can you be a Brock Purdy? Can you do what they asked of Jalen Hurts? Can you just do what we need you to do? If we're not putting the entire team on your shoulders, can you just follow what the plan is? I think that's what's going to change the NFL again. Quarterback is really hard to play. And, everybody's like, well, it's the most trained position. I'm looking at all these quarterbacks. Do you realize how many quarterbacks the NFL chews up and spits out? It's hard. Maybe these coaches that are figuring out, you know what? Let's not put everything on him. Even the Buffalo Bills figured out, we can't have Josh throwing 55 times a game and expect to win. There's no way for him to constantly throw against 7, 8-man coverages. The Colts, my Colts, ran into that at the end of the Manning era. They didn't have a running game. 4 down linemen is all that they used. The play action fell apart. He still was able to pick apart defenses, but without a running game, you don't have the play action. And without the running game, you don't have a threat. Patrick Mahomes just got beat by 4 defensive linemen. Nobody else. When they brought pressure, it was minimal, and it was... how many did they... I think they only did like 2 or 3 blitzes that whole game. And it was that bad. 4 down linemen stopped Patrick Mahomes. That's it. The Denver Broncos are sitting in a position where they need to protect Bo Nix. They asked him to do a lot in his rookie year, and he came through and took them to the playoffs. Now reward him by in year 2 going, all right, we're going to take a little bit off your plate. We're going to let you run the offense and take a deep breath, and we're going to take this game the way we're supposed to. We're going to run. We're going to get some running yards. We're going to use some power. We're going to use a little more clock. We're not going to be such a big play team. I think the Broncos have an opportunity to once again go 10-7, 11-6, and make the playoffs. I like where the team's at, and I trust them to make the right decisions. As long as they aren't stupid with the cap. The cap is the only issue I have, because Sean Payton, I'm hoping he learned his lesson. Don't kick the can down the road on old guys. DJ Jones, you sign him for a 2-year deal. You give him 15 of the $20 million guaranteed, but you front it. You don't back end it, and you don't kick the can down the road. It's that simple. And that is all we've got for a Saturday morning podcast with Sports Talk with Hawk. Denver Broncos down. Tonight will be the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to go with the Super Bowl losing Kansas City Chiefs. Can they come off of everything? Travis Kelce said he's coming back. We will go over the Kansas City Chiefs, what it looked like, what happened, and what position they're in heading into this season as Super Bowl losers. Can they bounce back? That is a big question. It's not easy to do. Can they bounce back once again? We will see that tonight. And until then, make sure to subscribe and like the podcast. I deeply appreciate it. Hopefully your Saturday morning is fantastic. You have a great afternoon, and I'll see you tonight for another episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. Until then, have a great day and make it the best day that you can. I'm out.